Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, you fantastic people, wherever you are. Welcome to Chibi Reads Reddit. I'm your host, DoomChibi99. Today's subreddit is r/I don't work here lady. So sit back, get cozy, grab a drink, and let's read. Idiot middle-aged people at a bar where the staff don't wear uniforms. So I was at a bar where, like most small-town bars, the staff wear whatever they want, their own clothes. This four-top of 50-somethings was sat at a table adjacent to the door to the smoking patio. This was my Friday. I had just got paid, got a weed vape, so I was just enjoying myself and going out to the patio and getting baked between shots. The table of older people kept looking at me when I walked past them, like they're expecting me to talk to them or something. The funny thing is, I actually am a waiter, but not here. After my third vape break, I came back in, and one of the women at the table grabs my arm and starts to berate me for keep walking past them, not giving them any service. I laughed and said, "I don't work here. You haven't noticed me 10 feet away drinking liquor for the past 20 minutes? And one of the whipped husbands goes, "Well, can you get us someone who can help us?" I'm 5 shots deep and stoned at this point. I am sure as hell not a waiter, because I'm passionate about customer service. So I just chuckled and said, "No, I'm not going to do that," and walked away. They got so mad they left, still having made zero effort to interact with any actual staff. I got schmeared, and the bartender got a huge tip. All in all, I think everyone came out the winner here. Earbuds. I made the mistake of seeing some things out of place at Target and setting them straight while I was shopping, all while still wearing my Barbie pink logo embroidered work blouse. When I had someone start tapping me on the shoulder, mad at me for something. I'm hard of hearing, and I'd taken my aids out for a hearing break after a very long day, and I put them back in. Turns out she was mad I ignored her, see above, then got super mad I put earbuds in, lol. For the record, my aids look nothing like earbuds, see GN15. And I guess assumed I was putting them in to listen and further ignore her and be rude about it? Anyway, insert rant about bad staff, no one wants to do their jobs, no respect, and my tidying equals staff restocking in her mind. I let her run out of steam, then ask her if there's something I can help with, since I hadn't seen a Target employee walk past the whole time. Smart move on their part. They probably could hear several aisles over, or keeping clear of the area. And I am a naturally helpful person, even if she was barking, metaphorically and literally, up the wrong tree. It might be something another customer could do. Something off a shelf, fetching a cart, etc. Turns out she was after something out of stock on the shelves. We went and double-checked, and wanted me to check the back. Unfortunately, I can't do that. That would be trespassing, pointing at the shirt logo. Not Target. Like the pink shirt wasn't a clue. I didn't hang around to find out how her towel search went. I had places to be, and I was ready to be done hearing for the day. Again. Walmart. I'm a teenager, and for some reason, people always ask me questions at retail stores like I'm an employee. Not a clue why, though. Anyway, I currently work as a cashier at a pharmacy and wear scrubs to work. On the way home from work, I stopped at Walmart to grab a few things. As I was looking through the clothing clearance aisle, I was stopped by a man asking a question where something was. I told him I don't work here. He apologized and went away. But honestly, I'm so confused because I am wearing all black scrubs. I was not even organizing / picking up products or walking with a sense of duty. I'm not sure how that screams retail worker, but each their own, I guess? We have a relevant comment here by Timotheus313. Some people will just ask a stranger knowing they're not an employee because they haven't seen an employee. Usually they'll be polite. I was working in a big box store, but was working for a different big box store. Updating a display so I get the confusion. Someone asked me nicely where the restrooms were. I just pointed and said, turn left at the washer/dryer repair, then through the door between car audio and computer software. It's always nice hearing stories like this. A few videos back, I said that I actually had an I don't work here lady moment involving someone who I think was a Buddhist monk, and he couldn't find any store employees, so he just came up to me and asked what laundry detergent would be a good idea. So I just pointed him out to a thing of Gain Pods, and yeah, the guy was really super nice about it. So I said, hey, no problem, happy to help. And he went about his business. So yeah, if they are nice to you about it, you can be nice back and help them out. If they're not nice, then you got problems. And then he got an I don't work here lady story worth, I was told not to wear red at Target. I was walking around shopping at Target today, wearing leggings with a tank top and a burgundy sweater. A man walked up to me and asked where something was. If I had known, I would have helped him find what he needed. But my Target did a whole store remodel. I told him that I don't work here, but that the item was probably over in this section. He said that I had to be an employee because I had a red cardigan on. I just gestured to my shopping cart and told him that I'm not an employee, but that the electronics department was right there if he needed help. He told me that I shouldn't wear red clothes if I'm going to go to Target. Smart idea. When I went to check out, I was scanning my stuff and heard some commotion to the left of me by where I had to go get Starbucks. It was the man who upon spotting me, began pointing at me while complaining about me to some poor shift lead. Needless to say, I skipped getting a coffee on my way out. Croissants on a high shelf. Bit of a bit of a weird story, involving my tallish self and a little old lady. Not sure if this qualifies. Last week before work, I was looking for something at my local Sainsbury high street supermarket in the UK to deal with the inevitable mid-morning need for snacks. Okay, so looks like we're in the UK for this one. As I managed to drag myself away from the bakery items, I came across an elderly lady trying in vain to reach the packets of croissants that were on the highest shelf. She was a little on the small size, so it was a bit of an on tiptoes with arms above her head effort. Anyway, she saw me, 5'10", and a much taller woman, and rather pleadingly pointed to the croissants and repeated, "Long date, long date." Not really sure if she thought I worked there or not, and her English was limited clearly, so I don't think she was being rude. I've been well trained in the art of reaching unreachable things, from the grand old age of 12 when my second year senior school biology teacher couldn't reach the windows in the lab over the bookshelves. I found her a pack of croissants with the longest date from the back of the shelf, except she wanted all the longest date ones. I think I ended up getting her about 6 packs down? That kind of sounds like a very sweet story. Actually, when I was a kid, I actually knew someone who was like freakishly tall. I mean, she was so super tall in my elementary school days. I hope she's doing alright. This is a cute one! At the time this happened, I had one daughter and also frequently had charge of two little girls from next door. They were all very close in age, like a year and a half from the oldest to youngest. They were probably in the 5 to 6 year old range. I had taken them to the public pool and was putting sunscreen on them. I had finished one kid, so she was off to the side. I was working on kid number 2, and kid 3 was standing behind kid 2, waiting for her turn. And then a number of other little kids came running up and got in the line. Apparently they concluded that I was the official sunscreen lady. That is all. Just a funny encounter from years ago. They're in their late 20s now, but I thought of it. It might be fun to fit this up. I was reminded of it when one of them stopped by for a visit the other day. Look, everybody, it's the sunscreen lady. Let's get our sunscreen. That's adorable. but I want coffee. I used to work in a restaurant pretty close to my place a couple of nights a week while finishing up my thesis. One day I decided to bring my computer with me so I'd have lunch and work on my research project as it's a pretty chill place in the afternoon with calm music and overall a good vibe. People came up to me and said hi all afternoon and were genuinely happy to see me as a client, so it was a fun experience. But then a lady came in, sat down next to me, and told me she wanted a coffee. I don't work today. But you're here. But you're right here. Yeah, but I'm working on my research project right now. But you do work here. Yes, but not today. But I want coffee. There's my coworker, Jimmy. You can ask him. Can't you just make it for me? Sorry, I can't. I don't work today. But it only takes like a minute or so. I literally am not allowed to make your coffee today. But I can tell my coworkers if you want. Why can't you just make it for me? How lazy are you? She left without getting one and never came back as far as I can remember. Ugh, what's with Karens? Not everybody in any place is forced to serve you, even on their day off. Are you Delulu? I don't work for Toys R Us. I'm 12, but I could? Back before the internet and cell phones were a thing, I ran a Toys R Us call center from my home. Unofficially and without their permission. I had a landline phone in my room, just basic setup. Nothing special. But there was one small problem. My number was one digit away from the local Toys R Us. Sure enough, I started getting phone calls that were meant to go to them, where people ask about prices, sales, whatever! As a 12-year-old, I don't know how to deal with it. My parents told me to say wrong number and hang up, but I didn't want to leave anyone else hanging. So every Sunday, I pulled the Toys R Us flyer from the newspaper and put it by my phone. Whenever someone calls, I would tell them the current sales and prices from the flyer. And if they asked for something that isn't on the flyer, I would three-way call and then transfer them to the physical store to get the information that they needed. This little venture had been going on for over a year. I was basically an unofficial Toys R Us employee by this point. Of course, there were no benefits at all. One day, the actual store manager called my number and asked to speak to my parents. He was not angry, but he was definitely confused. Turns out that customers were very confused as to why a kid who was apparently from Toys R Us was answering their phone. He offered to pay for the number change if I would stop answering his calls. I felt terrible. I mean, I was doing a public service here. But in the end, we changed our number. Looking back, it's kind of funny that I ran a small customer service operation all by myself when I was 12 years old. I didn't understand how they knew I was just a kid. I wasn't that young, was I? Depending on when you hit puberty, then yeah, your voice might have been squeaky, dude, but still, I can't believe you were running that big of a side gig. Go screw yourself. A couple years ago, my wife had a blood clot and was rushed to the hospital. Once she was out of danger, but still in the ICU, I went for a walk, grabbed a tall boy and a pack of smokes. Being in Utah, I didn't want to be walking around with an open container, so I waited to pop it open until I was back on hospital grounds. I went to the very edge of the parking lot, sat on the curb, and popped open my beer and lit up. Excuse me, dang allergies. The hospital does provide a valet parking service, but I'm far from that area. A boomer couple pull up and stop. The windows roll down, and this exchange took place. We're in a hurry. Okay. We need you to return to the valet and park our car. Me chugging a beer and smoking a cigarette. I don't work here. Sir, you parked our car for us the last time we were here. Now please return to the valet podium and park our car. I'm 55, salt and pepper hair, unshaven, cap, sunglasses, t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops that I just threw on to follow the ambulance, and I've only seen much younger guys running the valet. I really don't think you want me parking your car. And like I said, I don't work here. We recommend you get up and return to the podium immediately and park our car. We are in a hurry. If not, we will make sure that you're fired. The stress of the last 18 hours hit. Why don't you go screw yourself? Excuse me? You heard me. Go screw yourself. The man slams the truck into neutral and exits. His wife goes, "You better watch your mouth, young man." I stand up. As the man comes around the back of the vehicle, I set my beer down, take a drag from the cigarette, and flick the butt in his general direction. My wife is upstairs in the ICU. I've had a pretty stressful night and day. I was hoping to have a beer and a smoke and recenter myself, so I can go be supportive to her. You've completely screwed that up, so the next best thing is going to be releasing my frustration physically. It's been some time since I was in a fight, but the more I think about it, the more I believe it's exactly what I need. Let's go! The guy stops in his tracks, trying as hard as he can to retreat, but not seem weak. We're going straight to security. You're getting fired and arrested. They tried to squeal the tires and leave, but whatever their piece of crap truck was, they didn't have enough power for that. I walked over to where my cigarette butt landed, picked it up, and went back to the curb. Never heard from nor seen anyone from security, and gave the valet guy a nice wave as I passed by, going back to the hospital. So the t-shirt, shorts, flip-flops, the beer, and the smokes were not a dead giveaway that you don't work there, dude. Hope your wife's okay. It just happened. I'm in a wheelchair. I was sitting in front of the hospital waiting for the valet to bring my car. A car pulled up and this Karen jumps out, starts screaming at me to come park her car. Note the valets wear blue company logo shirts and black slacks, and all three were either parking or retrieving cars. I am wearing a purple t-shirt and shorts. Plus, I'm in a freaking wheelchair. I let it go about 20 seconds of her demanding that I park her car. I looked at her and said, "Does it look like I work here?" Her reply was, "You're sitting by the stand." About 10 feet away. I tapped my wheelchair and said, "Think this is for decoration?" The light bulb went off and she started sputtering about me misrepresenting myself as an employee. My car came up and as I was getting in, I heard her say to the actual valet, "That man was so rude and refused to help me." The valet looked at me and shook his head. She was still jabbering as I drove off. Another example of the Carapithecus in Title Day. I got mistaken for a hooker. Thanks, I guess? Hopefully this is a good place to post this story. If not, I'll move it. I, 24 female, have been married to my husband, 27 male, for 4.5 years. We got married in January 2020, 1 month before I turned 20. So I was 19 and was often told I looked 18 for about 3 years. Lucky, when I was 18, people kept saying I looked 13. Okay, Chibi, back to the story now. The next day, we left early in the morning to go on our honeymoon to Houston. We showed up at the hotel wedding church wearing church clothes. I can't remember the exact reason why. My husband wore a long white sleeve button-up shirt and tie, and I had a 3/4 long sleeve just above the knee-length black dress with floral pattern, plus makeup, but not tons of it. We walk in, and the woman, 30s, at the front desk looked at my husband, and said, "Hello, are you here for business?" She eyed me. "Oh, pleasure." I definitely got the vibe that she thought that I was there for some crazy reason other than being a normal couple. It's just hilarious to me that she gave me that look while I was wearing a dress that was not in the slightest bit scandalous. My mom and I had our first Karen encounter. This was mostly my mom's encounter, but when I showed her this subreddit, she seemed eager to be part of it. My mom came back to the same Walmart she used to work at during her high school years. Someone recognized her and began asking for help. The titty woman. "Can you please tell me where this item is?" It's been a while since I was last here, but I think I saw it. What do you mean you think? You've worked here for over 20 years. You will tell me where it is now, she says while stomping her foot. People are looking over. One thing that's important to know about my mom is that she's a mama bear. If she's not in a professional environment, she feels no need to keep it professional. That edge can get pretty loud. Mom, twice as loud as the Titty woman. Who the flippity-doo-dah do you think you're talking to? And Titty woman turns pale, opening and closing her mouth like a fish. Mom's still being loud, but not as loud as she was. Why the hell would I work here for even 5 years if I'd had to put up with people like you on the daily? She gets closer. I tried being nice, but that was just unnecessary. Now get out of my sight. I got kids to feed. And Titty woman made some snobby remark, but my mom didn't hear her, or maybe just ignored it. So I looked at her dead in the eye and just popped my neck. And just, God dang! It popped so much. Loudly, too. She shrunk back and ran off to her hobbit hole or somewhere. My mom cried once we got into the car because her anxiety finally got to her. She didn't even recognize her. It's crazy how differently people register other people. We just ate McDonald's and laughed about the absurdity of the encounter once we got home. This is my first Karen encounter, and I was happy to intimidate one, especially in defense of my mom. Edit. Good or bad news? Okay, my brain just played the bit from Futurama. You know the part. Professor Farnsworth, the meme. The good news, everyone. I had to add that in. Come on, can you blame me? Okay, back to the story, back to the edit. Edit, good or bad news? I remembered the entitled woman's snobby remark it was something along the lines of, you need to set a good example for those kids of yours. That's why I got offended and popped my neck. Real scum of the earth tight, that one. I believe it. But good on you for standing up for your mom. Just make sure your neck's not popped out of place, my guy. Looks like we've reached the end of today's video, but fret not, I'll be back tomorrow with more Reddit stories just for you. Want to get notified of the next video? Tap that bell icon. Want to subscribe? Tap the button. It's completely free. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and until next time, catch you later, my Chibi Dominators.